So we're going to talk about how I lost out on a six-figure business.
How'd you do that?
I see that success is not something you pursue. It is something you are.
A while ago, when I was like really just building businesses or just building my business in general, I've always had this thing in the back of my mind in terms of trade shows, because trade shows hire a lot of people, like especially entertainers. And I'm thinking, okay, so I'm speaking, I'm doing this stuff, but I see this big market, trade show market for the entertainment industry. And what I tell a lot of guys, speakers, entertainers, everybody, is that there's no such thing as a website where it just has all these events going on, where there's no such thing as a website where bam, you just find all these corporate events. No such thing whatsoever, unless you want to count Google as that website. And so with the trade show market, on the other hand, there is a website like this. There is one website that has trade shows all over the world, too many to contact, and I'm pretty sure it's like freaking every trade show out there. And so I said, man, I can't believe this. And then I clicked on the website, I clicked on a link, clicked on a trade show, and then I went to the trade show, and bam, I clicked on the exhibitor list. And it has a list of all these companies. The exhibitor list is all the companies that are going to attend the trade shows. So I'm looking at this list, and I'm like, damn. Like they've done the work for me, where all these companies, I can now contact all these companies and say, hey, bring me into your trade show and I will attract this huge crowd around your booth. I will just amaze people. You can generate more leads because you'll have tons of people around your booth. And so I thought, man, everything is done for me except me just having to send them emails. And so I sat down and I said, you know what? Maybe I'll test this out. And so I tested it out, and it actually did work. And so I just contacted everyone using the same prospecting system that I teach in the Event Finder system inside the Speak Pro Academy. It's the same system. I use the exact same thing for the entertainment instead of speaking. And I got a few people to respond. So out of, I don't remember the exact number in terms of how many I contacted, but three people, 3 trade show booths, 3 exhibitors basically responded with interest saying, yeah, we'll bring you in. But none of them actually booked me in terms of actually bringing me in. And the reason for this was twofold. So number one, I technically wasn't committed to it. And number two, I didn't have video footage of me actually doing this. So I had video footage of me performing, me speaking, but I didn't have video footage of me on stage at a trade show, building a crowd, attracting that crowd, and collecting the leads. I didn't have the video footage. And I wasn't committed enough to getting the video footage either. And so to get video footage, what I could have done is I could have done an event for free. I could have done any one of these for free, and then I could have recorded myself, got footage, got pictures, everything. But I personally wasn't committed because trade shows, they were only willing to spend about $2,500 per day for an entertainer to come in and attract a crowd. And so I wasn't committed in terms of getting $2,500 a day because I was already getting $10,000 for just a few minutes at a corporate event. So it's kind of like going backwards. That's what I felt like to me. So I wasn't as committed, and because of this lack of commitment, I didn't go full force with this thing, even though it could be a six-figure, like a high six-figure type business. And so if I would have done this, here's what I would have done. I would have essentially contacted these events and say, hey, I can build a crowd around your booth, and I'll do it for free. I'll do 1 or 2 for free. Then after I got the video footage, then I'll start taking it up and I'll start contacting more. But basically, you have to think in terms of, you have to be committed even when you're the most successful in one market, because when you enter another market, you're starting over completely. So I was doing really good. I'm doing really good in the corporate market. But when I switched and I said, you know what, let me maybe try the trade show market. When I switched, it was essentially me starting over from scratch. And I've seen a lot of people do this with the speaking industry too, to where someone might be a millionaire in another business. They might be a doctor, they might be a TV repairman, I don't know. They might be a millionaire, a celebrity where maybe they were a basketball player or something. But when they go to speaking, they essentially think, well, I used to be in the NBA. I used to be a basketball player and I made millions. So I should immediately just start getting all these events and just start immediately charging $50,000 for a presentation. But they don't realize they're starting from scratch. No video footage, no pictures, no website. You look like a freaking scrub. And if you look like a scrub, people aren't going to hire you. And that's essentially what I was doing with that industry, where of course I had video footage of me in the corporate, me speaking, all this stuff, but I didn't want to start from scratch with the trade show market. And so I essentially lost out on a what could have been a high six-figure business just because I wasn't interested in starting over. So just to keep the record straight, I turned the girl down. She didn't turn me down, just to keep the record straight. But when it comes down to you switching a market, to you doing something differently, you have to understand that maybe you did good over here, but you might be starting over when you're speaking or when you enter a different industry. So keep that in mind as you're growing, as you're building a business. Don't get a big head. Just understand that when you start over, you're a freaking scrub. Everyone knows you're a scrub. Your mama knows you're a scrub. They know you're a scrub. And so you got to realize, like, hey, sometimes you start out as a scrub.